Previously on Chaos Head Noah.
計画は私が引き継ぎましょう。ただし、あなた方の考えているような低俗な目的ではなく、より崇高な理由のためにです。
Define noble. Neosekken's tone remained civil and polite. Beginning to understand what exactly he was conveying, the two men naturally became infuriated.
貴様、裏切るのか？神にでもなったつもりかね。300人委員会が黙ってはおらんぞ。
お二人も300人委員会のメンバーでありながら、反旗を翻そうとしていたではありませんか。
Yeah, I was about to say. Neosekken's eyes watched them carefully, and housed within them was raw, unending contempt. His gaze was cold as could be. It was as if he was being forced to study two monoliths of pure rot and filth. His gaze conveyed a very particular meaning, one that revealed he had only been using these two from the very start.
これは全て予定通りの行動ですよ。あなた方がここで死ぬことも含めて。
ふざけるな！ざれ言を。
私としてはどちらか一人で十分ですがね。IR2 を生み出したものとその完全なるコピー。二人とも化け物じみた力を持っている。彼らどちらかのコードサンプルが手に入れば、ノア2はより完璧へと近づくでしょう。神をも超える力を得るのです。
Remy lowered her eyes in anguish. He fiercely tore away the hand that had been holding her jaw, and as his gaze rose up to Noah too, a smile formed from the corners of his mouth.
さあ、呼びかけなさい。どちらでもいい。私は歓迎しますよ。
Remy, affixed to the art piece, slowly raised her head at my voice. Our eyes met. Her eyes shot open.
どうしてどうして君を助けに。
Her eyes began to swim.
バカだよ。僕はあんたには負けられない。
なぜ否定するのです？
ただの自己満足だ。
残念です。
His gaze locked onto me. Neosekken grabbed Remy by the collar and threw her off the art piece. His right hand then stretched out in front of it. And in that ephemeral moment, the once standing art piece found itself in Neosekken's hand. It was no mere art piece, nor was it a cross that existed for crucifixion. It was a D-sword. It was a battle of strength between a sword that was far too thin and delicate and a sword that was far too colossal and ferocious. Somehow, I was holding out with it, at least for the moment. Four times now. 4 times had our blades crossed, but this time, the position of Neosekken's hands began to change. It looked he was clutching the guard of the sword now. And then his sword began to writhe. Laying out an eerie noise, its malleable mechanisms groaned. The blade's edge then split in two, opening into a pair of scissors that was then thrust toward my very chest.
Huh?
That alteration, right then I came to realize it would mean the end of me. I countered, swinging my sword right down in front of me. But I was too late. A bubbling noise ensued. And then he regenerated. Even though his body had been cleaved apart a mere second ago, already a new head, right arm, and shoulder had been born. His old head and internal organs remained where they had slid free from him.
通覚は遮断した。
With a single step, Takumi approached Neose. Neose clicked his tongue, then turned over his D-sword.
肉体の形を捨てたがゆえにいかなる形をも取れるということですか。
あんたの見せてくれた妄想のおかげだよ。
He was unable to retain his shape as a human being. He had taken in the delusion and made it his own. This was not regeneration, but replacement. Missing parts replenished, flesh and bone were reproduced once again, all propagating infinitely from the dust within his body. His shape was not fixed. Like an amoeba, like a collection of slime, he could change himself freely. That was the reason Takumi called himself a monster. Takumi took yet another step toward Neose. Neose had no fear of death. One could say that the ideals he pursued had been accomplished with the completion of Noah 2.
私を殺してもノア2には誰も近づけない。永久期間なんですよ、それは。人類を未来永劫にわたって管理し続ける。ただ座して眺めているだけではない、人の幸福のために干渉してくる人工の神なのです。
Neose was God's inventor, so to speak. As long as Noah 2 continued to exist, mankind would not perish, and the eternal utopia Neose sought would become real. However,
あんたなら近づけるんでしょ。
yes, he can. Remember my earlier suggestion, Takumi? Why don't we try using him to do our dirty work for us? The serpent's body wriggled and writhed with Neose in its grasp, lifting his body into the air.
それならあんたは鍵だ。
Neose was astonished. But soon enough, his face changed into an expression of pure agony. The serpent swung about his body with ease. Takumi, D-sword in hand, bent his arms in a giant arc.
突き破れ！
He thrust it forth. Just like a javelin, the colossal serpent of darkness charged straight ahead. With the bait known as Neose impaled by its tip, it flew straight toward Noah 2. An enormous serpent of antiparticles, capable of terminating any known object. It had no will of its own. Thus, it was not something that could have been warped nor distorted. With the greedy impulse to destroy, using Neose as the key, the delusional barrier was easily smashed to pieces. The girl slowly kneeled to the ground before my collapsed body, with her head still lowered. She gently took my own in her hands. I surrendered my body to her grasp. I was just relieved that she wasn't looking at me.
殺さなくちゃいけないの。
In my ear, I heard a whisper. Garbled by static, it was as beautiful as it was discordant.
ごめんね。
There's nothing to apologize for. If I don't disappear, the other me, the real me, will die. So, that's why I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm really glad I got to be erased by you. It's not a bad end for a monster like me. I don't have any regrets. A warm, soft, gentle, sweet sensation. Miraculously, as if it were an anesthetic, the shivering in my body slowly began to die down. Her soft breath tickled my cheeks. It smelled so sweet. Suddenly I sensed something pressing against my chest. The large sword she held tore through my skin, bored into my flesh, weaved through my bones, and slowly sank through the center of my body. But, given to the anesthesia of her kiss, I no longer felt any pain. I would never have imagined I would get such a kind death. Just the thought of it broke my heart, leaving me on the verge of tears. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Chaos Head Noah. So, now that I've got the first story route out of the way, Silent Sky, I now have the option to pursue 8 different new endings. And it was recommended to me that from a viewer of mine that I pursue the Crying Sky ending first before I check out any of the other ones, so that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. However, they also informed me that actually getting the requirements needed to view this ending is a bit of a guessing game involving the Delusion Triggers. All I know is that I need to view 11 of the right amount of Delusion Triggers in order to see this Crying Sky ending. So, rather than just spend an unknown amount of time playing guessing games and trying to figure it out, I think for this ending at least, I might just try to rely more on my own intuition for the later endings, but I think for the Crying Sky ending at least, I'm going to make it easy on myself and just consult this handy-dandy little guide I have here, and just see where it all takes me. So that being said, let's go ahead and start a new game, shall we? Yeah. I was also informed that some of the questions that I answer here determines whether or not Hazuki wears glasses. I kind of want to see now if that is indeed truly the case. Swimsuit / plus glasses equals perfection. No. Glasses, who cares about those? The competition swimsuits are definitely better than the regular school ones. I think I said yes last time to this one, so I'm gonna say no. The school swimsuit is a symbol of youth. Ooh, I got a new tip. The school swimsuit is a symbol of youth. Something to remind, I'll just have to read those later when all this shit isn't in the way. Oh, and socks too. They gotta be over the knee. Over the knee socks. A type of sock that extends beyond the knee. not to be confused with knee socks, which when used in Japanese refers specifically to socks that reach up to but not past the knee. Over-the-knee socks serve as an intermediate option that reach higher than knee socks, but not quite as high as thigh-highs, making the term an important distinction for both otaku and leg fetishists alike. I see you got another one here, apparently I missed. Water lily. The shape of Takumi's D-sword represents his pure soul. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, never mind, I'm not. Takumi having a pure soul? You're joking, right? You're joking, right? I mean, I've already got 25 whole episodes so far, not counting this one, where I could probably just sit through all of it and find plenty of examples showing that his soul is anything but pure. Just look at what he gets off to, man. I mean, seriously. And that's not, and I'm not, there's also all the other little things here, like his very unpleasant personality, some of his less pleasant thoughts, and internal monologuing that he has towards Nanami and all that at the best of times. Well, most of the time, not the best of times, but I digress. But point is, he does not have a pure soul. His soul is anything but pure. But whatever. I mean, okay, just because you say his soul is pure, I guess I just have to take your word for it. Got it. Understood.
Okay.
The shape of Takumi's D-sword represents his pure soul. Its very long design featuring no ornate decorations signifies that Takumi, who until then had only been running away, had begun moving forward, risking his very existence. This edgeless sword severs everything in its path by vaporizing all it touches in an instant with tremendous heat. Anything else in here I missed? Apparently not. Okay, that little bit of hilarity out of the way, let's continue. Okay, so in socks 2, they gotta be over the knee. I don't even remember what I said to this one, now that I think about it. Well, let me see if I can consult my first episode real fast. So apparently I wasn't given this particular question at all the first time around. Which leads me to believe that my first question ended up influencing the next series of questions I've been getting up until now. So my prior answers from episode 1 are pretty much going to be useless here to consult. Okay, so I personally don't really care. So, no. Okay, glasses, who cares about those? The school swimsuit is a symbol of youth. Something to remind us of those days that bring such bittersweet tears to our eyes. Really, a swimsuit is all I need. Everything else is unnecessary. Slow down, man, LMAO. You really like swimsuits, huh? What, will I get to see you in a swimsuit or something? Come to think of it, I forget. Don't I need to toggle an option for the launcher in order to enable the swimsuit DLC? Question for later, I guess. As any man should, logically speaking. By the way, it's not really about how much skin is shown. New tip, no pan. I take it this doesn't involve a frying pan. No pan. It's short for no panties. Nope. Shirt used to refer to female characters who aren't wearing underwear. Many artists enjoy illustrating a character in such a way that their underwear is not visible, invoking the delusion that the character is not wearing panties. I wonder how common that is and how common that was when this game was made. Like, you know how a grill having her panties completely exposed is epic, but that the implication that she's going no pan is so much hotter? It's like that. Okay, sure, but I'd be really happy. I'd be happy either way, really. So you say, Hazuki. What? What sort of knave can't acknowledge the superiority of implications? I mean, NGL, I just like them naked. Does that make me a knave? You stupid dumb fuck. You don't get moe at all. Well, your libido is definitely at full throttle today. But that's what makes you, you, Nineheart. LOL. I should be disgusted, and yet... Lol. Ah, so my perversion turns you on, does it not? Does it, Hazuki? Wait, go back. What do you mean that's what makes you you? I mean, yeah, I guess I went a bit crazy there. But I'm still trying to maintain a cool image for myself here. You? Cool? Well, hey, I may be a loser, but at least I'm not a baby murderer. What are you laughing at? Well, murder in general, but the baby murder in particular really stands out to me for obvious reasons. Milady. Actually, I take that back. You're no lady. Even though you look like one, you sound like one, you have the genitals of one, the womb of one, you are no lady. Anyway, what were we talking about before I went AFK? It was probably just something to... Okay, is this actually new dialogue or... Okay, no, it's not. Okay. Next thing. Sunday, 3 a.m. at cafe. Despite being the weekend, the sounds of someone tapping away at a keyboard echo throughout the building, undeterred by the late hour. Sitting inside room 37 was a boy, facing a computer monitor. The boy remained still and unmoving, and instead of sitting in the provided recliner, he sat in a wheelchair. Shogun? Oh. Oh, so this is... So this is where Shogun got into our chat room for the first time. I see. The boy finally stirred, ending his period of motionlessness. His eyes, hiding beneath his cap, pierced through the screen. A nearly inaudible whisper left his lips. Well, at least we can confirm that his milky white eyes still function. He's not blind.
これが次のニュージェネの妄想なんだね。
Yep. Hazuki and Suwa are definitely getting to work on him now. Once he was sure that the user known as Grim had exited the chat room, the boy began to take action, draping his wrinkled hands upon the keyboard. His mission was to get into contact with Nineheart. to warn him, and to strike fear into his heart. A distorted expression weakly crawled onto the boy's face. In that moment, his expression may have appeared pained to an outside observer, but in reality, it was quite the opposite. The boy was smiling. He had contacted Neinhardt, and Neinhardt had responded. A casual conversation to most, but a miracle to him. His hands suddenly froze.
思い出して。君は知らないだろうけど、知っているんだ。
An enigmatic whisper, spoken as though it were directed toward Neinhardt on the other side of the monitor. Returning to silence, he began typing once more, this time writing out a single mathematical formula. IR2. Neinhardt failed to reply. From this, the boy deduced that Neinhardt must have clicked one of the links he had pasted again and again into the chat window. It might have been strenuous for Neinhardt, but it was something that he had to show him at all costs.
怖いかい。でもだからこそ、君は目覚めることができるんだ。
Speaking those words to himself, he sent his final message. Whose eyes are those eyes? Without waiting for a response from Neinhardt, he logged out of the chat room. A small sigh came from beyond the wall, followed by a light knocking sound. Signs that the occupant from the room beside him had stood up from their seat. And before long, the door to his cubicle, room 37, was opened. Isn't that the same room that Takumi uses? The girl didn't smile. Her expression remained grim as she took hold of the handles of his wheelchair. Rimi, I assume.
もう一人のあなたとは接触できた？
Yep. His answer to the girl's question, which had been asked rather abruptly, was brief and concise. Still being well attuned to the boy, the girl was able to sense a hint of tension in his tone.
何かあったの？
西条匠に接触してきたのは僕だけじゃなかった。おそらく監視がついている。
そっか。
She didn't speak another word. She simply pushed his wheelchair toward the front of the cafe in silence. Well, it's nice to see I'll be getting a few extra new scenes along the way. Okay, our first choice. And fortunately, it looks like as though the skip function stops automatically on these things, which is really nice. I'd hate to accidentally skip these. Okay, so I need to do neutral with this one. Come to think of it, I think I did neutral with the first time too, didn't I? Oh, this is new. It's just a coincidence. Okay, so the little guide I mentioned, I mentioned that I will be given that I'll be encounter new yes or no prompts tied to the heroines throughout future playthroughs, and I will need to use them in subsequent playthroughs in order to branch into their routes. But for the purposes of getting the Crying Sky ending, I will need to say no to all of them. For now. It's just a coincidence. No. I'm making it up. It's all in my head. New Gen Killer is somewhere in this school. Whoever wrote this is trying to provoke me. Well, yes, but I have to say no for now. I should definitely erase it. Alright. Let's continue. Okay, number 2. I really want to see what would
コーラ
happen.
しかないじゃん。ミルクティーとか用意しといてよ。
I really want to see what will happen if I select the positive delusion option last time, because I also remember selecting the negative one first time around too, and getting that also wonderful surprise delusion as in response. Doesn't say anything. The guy doesn't say anything about this particular choice. So I guess this one doesn't matter? Fuck it, I'll risk it.
知らんがな。
しょうがないな。じゃあ、コーラもらうね。
Surprise, fucking surprise. She went ahead and did as she pleased. There's this thing called permission, you know. She grabbed a bottle of cola from the fridge, one I had already drank from, no less, and only after a second of hesitation, she cracked it open and gulped it down. Sorry in advance, Shogun, for taking away some of your life force for these delusions, but curiosity will kill me if I don't. So, it's either you and me when it comes to this game of survival, and I pick me. I'm such an asshole. Her soft throat rose and fell seductively, pumping the soda down with an audible gulp, gulp, gulp.
せめてコップ使えよ。
Had she seriously just drank straight from the bottle? Even though she was a girl? What a disgrace. This was exactly why 3D sucked ass. Why does it matter if a girl drinks directly from a bottle of soda? What kind of nonsense logic is that? Or is there some etiquette to drink, some gendered etiquette to drinking soda bottles I'm just not aware of? As soon as Nanami finished her drink, she went right back to pouting like before. Though, was it just me, or did it seem like she was blushing a little? Since I'm borrowing Shogun's powers for powers in order to manifest some of these delusions, or at least I think all of them, all the delusions I have here do require some power from Shogun. I wonder. Can Shogun actually read my mind during these portions? Because if we require his power in order to have these delusions at all, or alter reality and cause delusions to manifest within the physical realm, that would require a link to be formed between this Takumi and him, correct? So how far does that link extend? Like, is it just simply connecting just the power, and he only just feels his life draining away? Whenever Takumi wishes for something or thinks something up? Or does he have more access to Takumi's mind than just that? I wonder if I'll get an answer to that question later on. Because I'll say one thing. If he can somehow read my mind during this stuff... Oh boy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have the best of time he's probably not going to have the best of time with whatever this delusion is going to be. I think I can already tell right away. Oh boy. I think I already read this line, so let's move on.
だってナナはお兄と関節キスしたかったんだもん。
And just like that, she dropped a bombshell. She still kept her pouty attitude, but now she was looking straight at me. I was paralyzed. My little sister was on the verge of tears, and all I could do was just stand and stare. Had I just tripped a flag? Like some kind of a rogue? Was I on the little sister route?
軽蔑した。
Not yet, you're not.
だとしたらナナ悲しくなっちゃうな。言っとくけどお兄相手じゃなきゃこんなことしないんだからね。
Nanami's voice gradually lowered.
お兄のバカ。
Well, Delusion Nanami is right. You are a big jerk. Her voice was a faint murmur as she hung her head in shame. There wasn't a single trace of her typical bratty attitude.
ねえお兄。
Oh dear God, I'm even seeing some skin!
関節だけじゃ嫌だな。
I hope this isn't the only CG I will actually see in this episode. Because if it is, this could make making a thumbnail for this episode potentially really awkward with the YouTube algorithm. Let's just say. Hopefully if I have to use this for the thumbnail, this won't get my channel in trouble. Hopefully. Oh, shit. Hearing that, I tried to gulp, but the saliva got caught in my throat and refused to go down. And with that, I was completely cornered. Though I still didn't really understand what Nanami meant.
お兄とキスしたいよ。お兄が欲しいよ。
Nanami took a step closer to my petrified body. What should I do? I'd always seen Nanami as this obnoxious little brat, but right now, she's the center of your world, am I right, you deviant? My heart was pounding out of my chest.
いいじゃん。16年間も我慢してきたんだよ。
Nani reached her arms out and wrapped them around my neck.
キスして。
Well, Takumi, will you comply? She was almost begging. Then she raised her chin ever so slightly and closed her eyes. And my answer was, yes, what kind of man are you talking me? I'm into older sisters, not younger ones. Okay, so the positive delusion, I guess, creates this list of choices too, yeah? Or does that not matter either? I'm into older sisters, not younger ones. I gotta say no to all this stuff too, so like I said, you're not on the little sister heroine route just yet, my friend. I won't let you. I like girls with flat chests. There are 3D girls I like besides Nanami. Well, we already saw proof of that in the first route, even if it doesn't happen right away. So, but still, gotta say no. I admit it. Nanami is cute. I want to say yes to this so fucking bad. She is cute. I want to kiss Nanami-tan. Again, not in this universe, you're not.
いや、その理屈はおかしい。
Jesus Christ! I'd zoned out and let my delusions run wild again. I'd never felt so disgusted with myself in my life. Well, get used to this feeling, because it's not going to be the only only instance of it you're going to be feeling. I can guarantee you that. New tip, OMG. Like, OMG, barf. Just totally barf. Buddy, I remember you explicitly stating that you got a little bit of his little sister heroine kink in the original route. For some of your eroge. Do not try to bullshit me that you are not even remotely interested in the idea. Like, come on. OMG, short for oh my god or oh my gosh. While the abbreviation originated in a letter written in 1917, it is most... Wait, what? It was... OMG has been around since 1917? Over a century? Jesus Christ, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. While the abbreviation originated in a letter in 1917, it is the most commonly associated with texting and the internet. In recent years, however, it has become popular enough to be used colloquially in normal conversation, especially among teenage girls. And then I started thinking, stop that, that's dangerous, especially for you. Maybe if we weren't blood related, and she fell a little more into the cute little sister archetype, I wouldn't be such a virgin loser. So, you're saying you'd be more okay if she were your stepsister instead, huh?
どうしたの?
I could answer that, Nanami, but we'd be here a while. After finishing her cola, Nanami shot me a confused look. Is this, also... Okay, no, it's still new. I've been acting weird because of my delusion just now, and Nanami had noticed. Snap out of it. I took a deep breath and forced some disgusting thoughts out of my mind. Well, they're disgusting to you right now, but I'm sure once you whip one of your eroge, you're gonna forget all about that feeling. Okay, next choice, / delusion. Delusion number 3. I think I selected the red one first time around. Or, no, I think it was the green. Either way, doesn't matter. I gotta go neutral with this one, too. I couldn't take my eyes off of her either. It was like I was suffering from sleep paralysis. Suddenly, Girl A opened her mouth. She seemed like she was trying to say something. But everything else was loud. It was so loud, there was no way I could hear what she was saying. I was completely entranced. All I could do was stare at the movement of her lips. Whose eyes are those eyes? A chill ran down my spine. There was no way she just said that. It must have been my imagination. I sucked at lip reading anyway, so I'd probably just gotten it wrong. I shook my head, tried my hardest to look away from her. Either way, Girl A had definitely said something. Whatever it was incredibly creepy. Especially considering the two of us had never met before. I needed to stay away from her. Mission failed. Guide also doesn't say anything about this. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is for anything that's not listed in the guide, I will I'll make choices on delusion triggers on my based on my own discretion until I get to the parts listed for the Crying Sky section where I have to make specific choices. Now I'm pretty sure I selected green the first time around for this one, so I'm gonna go with red this time around. Okay, come on, you do red.
私、あなたのことが好きなんです。
So far, we're off to a great start.
ずっと西条くんのことを見てました。
Oh, wait, I see. We're going to go the yandere route with this. Because if I remember right, this particular delusion, she tried to get all physical and flirty with me in the positive one. But so far, I think this is having the same exact beginning. But I bet you what's going to be different is she's going to get murder. She's going to express her affection for me in a yandere fashion. She's gonna go Yuno Gasai on my butt.
もう見てるだけじゃ嫌なんです。
Yua's face turned bright red, and right after this sudden confession, she started fishing around in her bag. She must have been looking for something. Oh, thank God! A more normal-looking CG. I think I'll safe from YouTube's wrath after all. Hell yeah.
あなたの全部を私のものにしたいんです。それでいろいろ考えて一番素敵な方法を思いついたんです。
Yep, someone pick up that telephone because I called it. She finally pulled something out of her bag. A brand new kitchen knife. Its blade glimmered with light reflected from my desk lamp. I just stood there, staring at her like an idiot. That was all I could do. Things were happening so suddenly, my mind could hardly keep up. It took all my strength just to swallow the saliva that had built up in my mouth.
私、あなたが好きだから。好きすぎて、もう耐えられないから。
Yua grasped the knife in her hand tightly. So tightly, in fact, her fingers were turning pale. and then she swung the blade towards me. I shook my head frantically, doing everything in my power to get her to stop. But it didn't seem like I could get through to her anymore.
あなたの肉とか
Oh great, is she a cannibal too?
骨とか皮膚とか内臓とか脳とか目玉とかもちろんあなたの一番恥ずかしいところも
Not my unmentionables!
全部
Oh no!
私が食べてあげますね
You know, if the only thing you were gonna eat were my unmentionables, I would object to this a hell of a lot less. Just saying. And as she screamed, Yua lunged straight for my chest. Suddenly, I felt a dull impact, and an intense pressure. I looked down at my chest. It was a tip of the kitchen knife, sinking deep into my body. I've been impaled! Yua let out a moan near my ear, dripping with ecstasy. The knife gouged my flesh, my bones. And yet, I couldn't feel pain. Which could only mean one thing. This was all a delusion. No, you were just in shock. You weren't in it long enough to feel any pain. Holy shit. That was way too goddamn scary! Yandere girls are fucking terrifying! I knew it was just a delusion, but it was so intense. It left me with a lingering dread that gave me goosebumps. I don't need your tip on yandere, I know all about them. But I'll read it anyway for my audience's viewing pleasure and their education. Yandere, a girl whose affection, dere, for her romantic interest grows so strong that she starts exhibiting strong emotions, such as jealousy and aggression, before eventually descending to outright insanity. Yan, usually of the murderous kind. So basically, I guess you could say she is a Sunsu. A yandere is a Sunsun who just is cranked up to 11. And once she's cranked up to 11, she stays at 11. And it only goes higher from there. Okay, maybe I'm thinking about it now, that might not be the best analogy or example, but whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go back to Nopan. Get out of here. While I was lost in my usual delusions, Yua suddenly had a huge fall and landed flat on her rear. Oh no! Humpty Dumpty fell! She rubbed her butt while on the verge of tears. Okay, next. I think this is number 5, yeah? I think I saw Sue flashed right by for a brief second. And there is the Frogs of Destiny. Hold on. Wait a minute. Something about this scene was really nagging at me. I think I selected the red one last time, so let's go with green. And that thing was the Girafrockies. Characters that were popular with high school girls. But I'd seen those exact ones before, hadn't I? Where, though? Oh, that's right. Nami had one attached to her cell phone. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, it was perfectly normal. What did I think was so strange about it? I was just paranoid over nothing. I'm so stupid. Nanami did say that Jirofroggies were super popular with high school girls. So really, it should come as no surprise that Yua had some too. Yep, nothing out of the ordinary here. Not even slightly. Sometimes having such a big imagination really sucked. I definitely can agree with you there. And how terrifying my delusions could be, it got so much worse. I'm sure Shogun agrees too. Look at his imagination. It's literally killing him. Yua was looking at me, tilting her head in confusion. Not knowing how to reply, I just forced a smile.
それ本当に流行ってるんだなって。ゲロカエルン。
Huh? What kind of reaction was that? Why did her expression turn so stiff? Probably because you made her start thinking that you're on to her, even when you clearly weren't, in this case. So I have a feeling we're about to see some very familiar events play out right before us, or we would, if I wasn't going to skip through them. Had I said something wrong? All I'd done was mention the Jirofroggies as a conversation starter. Nothing else. So then, why? Why her smile? That gentle smile she had this entire time suddenly vanished. Why she hang her head as if she didn't even want to look at me? I couldn't tell what kind of expression she was making anymore. It all gave me a terrible feeling I just couldn't shake. When I first laid eyes on those 3 Jirofroggies hanging from her bag, I've been hit by a massive sense of deja vu. Looking back, I guess my instincts were right. I had seen those 3 Jirofroggies somewhere before, and now that I mentioned them, Yua was freaking out. Suspicion slowly crept through my head until it completely took over my mind. I wanted to trust Yua, but I didn't know if I should.
ゲロカエル、西条くんも知ってるんですね。
Her voice lacked even the least bit of composure.
本当に大人気ですよね。私もあんまり可愛いとは思わなかったりするんですけど、何人かの友達からもらっちゃって気がついたら3つになってまして。
The more Yua spun her tail, the more artificial it felt. She wasn't looking at me. She didn't even try to. Her smile was gone. Even though until that very moment she had been so gentle, so sweet. I started to feel dead inside. Please, don't say any more, I begged inside my head.
見せてあげましょうか。
Yua reached out for her bag, trying to take the Jirofroggy straps off of it.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
Her hands were trembling. She frantically tried to pull them off her bag, but they just wouldn't budge.
変だな。どうして外れないんでしょう。絡まっちゃってるのかな。
Yua pulled on the straps a bit too hard, causing the bag to fall off the bench. The bag was unzipped, so all of her notebooks and textbooks spilled out onto the ground. Here we go. We try to avoid disaster, only end up walking right face first into it anyway. Such is our luck, huh, Takumi? I don't remember what choice I've made here first time around. Despite calling himself the other guy's student, he hadn't been particularly young. To be honest, he looked pretty old. I want to say I selected the green option last time, so let's go with red. Okay, I guessed right. Good. It didn't take long for me to be called into the examination room. I expected to be waiting there for quite a while, but I guess I was wrong. Why had there been so many people in the lobby then? Maybe I should read the text before Delusion starts too, just to get some proper setup for all this stuff. Maybe they were being paid to sit there just to make it look busy. It was a different examination room than the one from 4 years ago. But when I stepped inside, I was welcomed with a face I remembered dearly.
Yeah, Nishijo-kun.
Hello, numbskull. Dr. Takashina looked at me with a beaming smile. He hadn't changed a bit after 4 years. Feeling relieved, everything I was thinking spilled out all at once.
先生、助けて。
どうしたんだい？
変な女が僕にストーカー行為を。このままじゃ学校にも行けないし、家にも一度来られて場所知られてるから安心できないし。
落ち着いて。
落ち着いてなんていられないよ。あの女異常だ。僕は正常なんだ。それに岩だけじゃない。悪魔女だって。そうだ、悪魔女が真犯人なんだ。
真犯人？
ニュージェネの犯人だよ。間違いないんだ。僕は事件現場で死体を貼り付けにしてる最中のあの女を見たんだ。
大丈夫だ。何も心配いらないから。とにか
I
く
wish I
落
could
ち着こ
believe
う。
you.
いいね。
Having been admonished by him, I stopped talking. I didn't understand how he knew everything would be all right, but he was a professional, not to mention Dr. Takashina, so I guess he must be right. That was what I told myself. My breathing was ragged, likely thanks to getting so worked up. I took a deep breath. Dr. Takashina stared fixedly at me. What concerned me, however, was that the look on his face was pretty serious.
本当に大丈夫なの？
I can't get his death out of my head. God fucking damn you, Hazuki.
もちろんだよ。
あんな危ない女が僕を、狙ってるのに、なんでそう言い切れるの？
理由を知りたいかい？
When I nodded, he lightly shrugged his shoulders. He spun the pen of his hand around in his fingers, likely out of habit.
なぜなら、君の言っている女の人はこの世には存在しないからだよ。
In this delusion we're currently having? As far as I'm aware, yes, you're actually right.
でも
君は自分の妄想に怯えているだけなんだ。
His tone of voice was so gentle. It was eerie. I started trembling all over. I couldn't stop it. Why was this happening? Even though Dr. Takashina was being so nice, he...
西条くん、君はその女の人には会っていない。わかるね？
わからないよ。
じゃあもっと具体的に言おうか。君はその女の人には会えるはずがないんだ。 もう7年間も君はこの病院から一歩も外に出ていないんだからね。
What the fuck? Huh? Huh? What the hell was he?
君はこの病院の精神科に7年間入院している。そのことはわかるだろう？
Aware of? What the hell was he talking about? How could he casually spout off such insane bullshit with a smile on his face? He's talking that's because he's talking to us as though we're Shogun. I inadvertently glanced down at the clothes I was wearing. When I come to the hospital, I was wearing a denim long-sleeve shirt on top of a blood-toned t-shirt, along with the only pair of jeans I had. That was the outfit I should have been wearing. But for some reason, I was now wearing a hospital gown. A one-piece, colored a pale yellowish green. A simple one piece of clothing tied together with a cord that hung in front. I wasn't even wearing shorts down below. When had I changed clothes?
ここは閉鎖病棟だからお見舞いの人も来ない。入院患者さんも男女で別フロアに分けられていて行き来はできない。精神科の看護師は全員男だし、君の病室は完全に個室。窓もない。つまり君は7年間女性と接触したことがないんだ。君の家族も含めてね。思い出したかな？
He was lying. He had to be. I hadn't been hospitalized at all. I was living in my own in Shibuya. I was a pretty well-known high-level player in ESO. And I even went to school. Sure, I only went in accordance with my minimum attendance chart, but that was still 2 to 3 times a week. I even just had a fairly professional, cordial chat with the nurse at the reception desk. Is this your first time here? Yes, it is. All right, then please fill out this form as you wait.
嘘に決まってる。
本当にそう思うのかい？
As he murmured that, Dr. Takashina scribbled something on the medical form he was holding. I couldn't tell what he was writing. It wasn't Japanese. Was it English? No. German?
だとしたら君の精神はまだ異常だっていうことだよ。もうしばらくは入院が必要だね。
He gave me a single fleeting glance. His eyes were full of pity, even though he'd never looked at me in such a way before. I collapsed my knees helplessly. Tears poured from my eyes. Oh, I see. It all made sense now. All my memories up until now had just been delusions. It was me all along. I was the crazy one. You're not too far off from the truth, actually. What a cruel twist that was. Then again, it wasn't like I cared anymore. Even if they were delusions, they weren't fond memories anyway. I mean, I could just make new ones, right? This time, a world without scary murders happening around me would be nice. I'd have a sociable personality, get good grades, and have some crazy talent. I'd be super popular with the ladies. My friends would be all hotties. Would all be hotties as hot as the hottest swimsuit models, and what's more, everyone would love the ever-loving shit out of me. Then I proposed that we should all start living under the same roof. And after that, my new life would begin. It wouldn't be easy. It would have its ups and downs, but it'd be fun. There'd even be a bit of slapstick thrown in here. Why is this setup reminding me of the setup of Danganronpa? I forced myself to laugh. My face twitched. I wanted to die. Welcome back to Planet Earth, Takumi. We missed you. I abruptly came to my senses, only to find myself sitting on a sofa in the lobby. A nasty sweat covered my entire body. A chill ran down my spine. Unable to grasp what was going on, I frantically looked around the room. Beside me was a hunched-over old lady. Her eyes were covered in wrinkles, so I couldn't tell whether she was asleep or awake. I took a look at the clock above the reception desk, and I saw that I'd been waiting in the lobby for a full hour. Had that all just been a dream? I hadn't slept last night, so had I dozed off while waiting? I gave a deep sigh of relief. It had been a bad dream. It had been a dream. Right? I tried remembering everything that happened up until the day before. Nothing seemed out of place. My memories were continuous and consistent. I'd encountered the demon girl at the scene of the crime, and then I got deceived and subsequently threatened by Yua. Then I'd gone to the hospital to prove that I was of perfectly sound mind. Yup, everything added up. I wouldn't mind if it all ended up being a delusion, though. That way, creating another delusional world that I could go nuts in would have been much, much better. The fact that I was even thinking that just went to show how utterly sick I was with everything that had been happening in my life until my life recently. In the end, I found myself waiting for another 2 hours before my name was finally called. I hear Noah 2 terminal. When I entered the examination room, it almost felt like the same events I'd seen in that dream were happening again. Okay, I'm hearing a Noah 2 terminal in the background, so I know Hazuki is likely on the premises. I wonder if someone is trying to get me, is trying to form some kind of, trying to make some kind of psychic attack against me. When I entered the examination room, it almost felt like the same events I'd seen in that dream were happening again. Dr. Takashina even appeared almost exactly like he had in the dream. It was probably just that he'd barely changed since the last time I saw him 4 years ago.
今日はどうしました?
Hello, numbskull. Dr. Takashina didn't say anything ridiculous like, your memories are delusions this time, but...
西条です。
ん? ああ、これはご丁寧に。高階です。はじめまして。
And there she is, and hey, I saw she didn't have glasses!
タッキー、外出嫌いなのに病院来るなんてすごい。
Well, how about that? Sergei was right all along. Not that I had any reason to doubt him, but still. Alright. Guess this one doesn't matter either. So, what choice did I make before? I want to say... Wait a minute. This is when I was visiting the hospital the first time, and I had that delusion of Remy coming to kill me, right? So that was a negative delusion. So I want to go with green then, I think.
私前から思ってたんだけどさ、タッキーって実はすごく強い男の子だよね。
Strong enough to behead you over and over again. Sarah animatedly moved about in my delusion. Her cute voice chirped for me.
私、そんなタッキーの強さが好き。それにタッキーは無遊病なんかじゃないよ。私、毎日タッキーのこと見てるもん。だからわかるさ。三次元女になんか騙されちゃダメだぞ。タッキーには私がいるっしょ。
Well, you're not enough of an expert to know how much of a beating you're going to be in for by the time that this story ends.
またあのコンテナハウスで二人きりで過ごそうね。ボケナス。
Sarah Tan. You're so cute, Sarah Tan. She really was my ideal waifu. There wasn't a single woman better than her. I disagree. Full stop. 3D? The fuck was that? It's like 2D, but in the third dimension. Ugh. I want to go home already. I want to go home and have Sarah Tan welcome me back with a smile. Too bad that's all she can give you. Wait for me, okay, Sarah Tan? I'll be coming home soon.
帰らなくてもいいよ。
どういうこと？
迎えに来たから。
An incredibly realistic whisper reached my ears. It felt almost like something was poking my cheek. I slowly opened my eyes.
お
What?
はよ、ボケナス。
What the hell? Sarah? Wait a minute, that's right. Isn't Sarah Tan a magical girl? This must be what you look like in your regular human form, yeah? I gotta say, you look surprisingly okay. Still hate you though. Beside the bed stood Sarah Tan, pre-transformation Aminogawa Sarah version. And she certainly wasn't in 1/8 scale. She was life-sized, and she was moving smoothly. With a gulp, I sat up, then reached out to try to poke Sarah Tan's breasts.
Oh!
They were squishy, voluptuous. She's no figure. She's the real deal. Sarah Tan has joined the realm of 3D! Well, now you know what 3D is, my friend.
No, no. ここ
Well
は二次元だよ。
At least in your head you do. Wait, it is? Even though they're so squishy?
二次元的にプニプニなんさ。
I didn't get what she meant, but as long as they were squishy, it wasn't like anything else mattered. Well, I definitely I don't disagree with you there, to be talking me. Squishiness is the only thing that matters in life. I realized I touched her breasts out of sheer surprise, and I rapidly grew embarrassed. The life-size Sarah Tan was insanely cute. So moe I could die. And most important of all, she was real. Thanks to that, the bashfulness that came from me touching her breasts, and the fear of her potentially hating me for it, had become much stronger.
ごめん、セイラタン。
タッキーならいいよ。
本当？
他の人にはこんなことされるのは嫌だけどさ。
Would you get real steamed if anyone else split you in two with an imaginary sword? Just out of interest?
特に進むとか、あいつに胸触られたら金棒で月までぶっ飛ばしちゃってる。
Who the hell is Susumu?
静かに。声出すと看護師さんたちに見つかっちゃうっしょ。
Yeah, you know what? Since I wouldn't want her watching me in a compromised position anyway. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Sarah. Let's be quiet. I can strangle you without making a peep. Saratan must have been being mindful of the world outside the curtain. Without making a sound, she then took off her shoes, climbed onto the bed, and then on top of me. Get your ass off of me. Almost saying something out loud again, I hurriedly covered my mouth. Saratan was straddling me. I'm not your horse! Her bare panties underneath her skirt were pressing against my crotch. This was bad. My Johnson was about to go berserk. Saratan drew her face close to mine. A sweet aroma filtered into my nose. So that was how Saratan smelled.
ねえねえ、タッキー。
I don't want to hear it.
タッキーも二次元になっちゃうべきだよ。
What's that supposed to mean?
タッキーはまだ三次元なんさ。だから私が二次元にしてあげる。
By what? Taking my picture?
いいっしょ。
Can you really do that?
できるよ。それにすっごく気持ちいいよ。
I don't know. 2D sounds kind of... I don't know. A 2D existence sounds pretty flat to me. I could hear the sound of nurses hurriedly walking about, as well as the voices of doctors examining other patients. We were in a place separated only by a single curtain. If that curtain were opened, we'd get found out for sure. That heart-pounding thought, combined with the taboo nature of doing something like this in a hospital, I was getting lightheaded. And to think I was committing such obscene acts with my #1 waifu. So this is what bliss is. All other thoughts have been pushed out of my mind. And so, in response to everything Saratan said, I nodded.
そうこなくっちゃ。そんなタッキーが好き。
Then, Saratan firmly pressed her lips against mine. Ugh! Disgusting! She's kissing me! She was soft, so soft. Was this the softness of 2D? Was it more soft than the real thing? No, it's just flat. This sudden borderline H scene turned my thoughts into pure spaghetti. I had no idea what the hell I should be doing. Well, that's because you're a virgin, my friend. Then, in the face of my bewilderment, Saratan pushed her tongue between my lips, encroaching upon my throat. It felt so good, I started to feel dizzy. To think a kiss would feel this amazing. I wanted her seductive, swirling tongue to violate my mouth forever. My arms wrapped up around her waist. She was very thin, since she was 2D and all. Flat as a board, yet squishy and voluptuous at the same time. Hey Shogun, you're dying to help me get my Johnson off. I just wanted to let you know that you're dying for a good cause. I promise. Wasn't this basically the same as kissing paper though? But it felt so incredibly good that I didn't care. She probably tastes like paper too. Saratan was Terra sexy. Terra as in like what? Terra or as in Earth? Because I do agree she is about as sexy as a rock. Saratan sucked in my tongue. It was too much. It felt like I was gonna die. These noises. It was starting to get painful now. Saratan's suction was frighteningly strong. I tried pulling my tongue back, but I couldn't. She just sucked it in even more. This lady's a freaking vacuum cleaner. She's got that much sucking power. I should have her clean my floors. She was pulling on it hard. So hard that it felt like it might rip off. And it wasn't just my tongue. The inside of my throat felt hot. My eyes felt like they were going to pop out of their sockets. I couldn't breathe. My chest hurt. The inside of my stomach churned and churned, turning into a pulpy, sopping mess. I was being sucked in. Everything inside my body, my organs, my flesh, my bones, they were all being sucked in by Saratan. I could feel my pounding heart rising up from my throat, the thick blood vessels tearing off one by one. It was an impossible sensation. It was incomprehensibly painful, and yet it felt even more pleasurable. My entire body had become an erogenous zone. Yes, my entire body. Not just the outside, but the inside of my throat, my heart, my blood vessels, my lungs, my intestines. Having Saratan violate the inside of my body, suck it all in, and devour it whole. It made me so happy. And that happiness and the sheer ecstasy I was feeling, it made me feel faint. I'm gonna die. It feels so good that I'm gonna die. Oh my god, Takumi! After everything inside my body had been sucked out, Saratan pulled her lips away, satisfied. Her mouth was dripping with a mix of blood and drool.
タッキーのすごく美味しかった。
Well, I hope you enjoyed this meal, because it's the only one you're ever gonna get from me. She gave a bewitching smile. I didn't have the energy to respond. She had taken everything I had. Well, Takumi, this was a positive delusion with her that I selected for you, and she still kills us by sucking away everything that we had in us. How much more proof do you need that this bitch isn't on your side? It was the first time I'd ever experienced such overwhelming pleasure. I was in a total haze. Fog enshrouded my consciousness. My thoughts were a blur. Clearly my words won't reach him. He's thinking entirely with his other head.
ほら、タッキー。自分の体見てみて。タッキーもこれで二次元の住人だよ。
Although I was very unsteady, I tried to get off the bed and stand up. My body had become thin, just like Saratan's. It was kind of hard to walk around. My body felt limp, and I could hardly stand. I fell to my hands and knees, hitting the floor without a sound. Saratan, I can't get up. Give me a hand here. Her voice came from above the bed.
二次元へようこそ。
It sucks. Still hear the Noah 2 terminal in the background. I sprang up, only to find myself on the bed like before. My heart was pounding like crazy. My heart was still inside my chest where it should be. I touched every part of my body. It wasn't paper thin. I was still 3D. I couldn't see Saratan anywhere. As it should be.
夢か。
But was that a good thing? Or a bad thing? I let out a sigh. That scene was just like the art one the dojin I bought from Circle Puriporu. In other words, I had a delusion using it as a basis. Why hadn't I noticed that in my dream? Well, I knew that it was a dream because I hadn't noticed. But I couldn't help thinking that regardless.
西條さん。
A voice called out to me from the other side of the curtain. The curtain quickly opened. A nurse from before, Hazuki-san, popped her head inside the room.
おはようございます。
Yeah, but I wasn't imagining things after all. You definitely don't have glasses anymore. I'm conflicted. On one hand, I do think she kind of does look cute with glasses, but on the other hand, given everything I know about her now, I'm instantly revolted by her, regardless of what she's wearing. Very conflicting feelings I'm feeling right now. Anyway, good morning to you, baby murderer. I bowed my head silently, keeping my eyes low.
結局3時間ぐっすりでしたね。
Huh? Had I really slept for 3 whole hours? Oops. I'm sleeping soundly. Had I really slept for 3 whole hours? I've been so lost in my dream that I completely lost all sense of time. Then again, I was pretty exhausted. Could you please turn off your freaking terminal? It's making my head all woozy.
少しうなされていたみたいですけど、大丈夫？
No, I had everything sucked out of me, outside of me by a two-faced bitch. That for some reason my protagonist here just can't see her true nature to save his life. So no. It's like watching an abusive relationship happen right in front of you, you know. Naturally, I couldn't mention my borderline wet dreams straight to her face. Oh, don't worry, you said a lot worse to her in your chat room. Admitting to my maxed out libido stat would be pretty embarrassing.
でも無遊病の症状は結局出ませんでしたよ。
Hasuki-san's reassuring voice conveyed that to me. Ah, yes, this thing. I'm assuming that depending on some of the stuff I select here, it could also potentially affect the story to some degree, no? Guy doesn't mention anything about this thing for the Crying Sky ending, so maybe it's just dialogue, bits of dialogue that shows up here and there. Probably nothing substantial. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select everything. When you have business to take care of, you prefer to use emails over phone calls. Yes? Yes. 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 Yes, 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 yes. Well, that was something. A delusion that I was forced to witness, I mean. I need a drink to clear my head with that shit. Ah, yes. The Fest concert. Okay, we finally got to a choice that the guide is telling me to be very specific about. Looks like it wants me to select a positive one for this instance, which is fine by me because I remember selecting the negative option the first time around. So I very much am curious to see what the positive one will entail this time. Looked at me. And it wasn't like she just glanced in the general direction of my eyes, or like she briefly made contact with me or anything like that. Vess was blatantly looking right at me. I'd even go so far as to say she was staring at me. Fixatedly. As if evaluating my existence. As if searching deep within my heart. Her gaze was all too intense, and yet, somehow, she seemed a little sad. As she descended from the stage and to the audience, I couldn't take my eyes off her. What was going through her head, I wondered. The rest of the Phantasm members resumed playing. But Fess wasn't singing this time. She just wandered about in the middle of the crowd, and then she casually threw her jacket off, exposing her sexy shoulders. Previously quiet fans were getting excited once again. Everyone threw their fists in the air as they jumped up and down wildly. They made the ground shake so hard it felt like an earthquake. I think I see what's about to happen here. She's about to get indecent in front of the crowd. However, nobody laid a finger on Fess. Maybe they thought she was too holy of an existence to be touched. Normally, if a girl of her charisma dove into the crowd, it wouldn't be surprising if they got crushed to death. You calling her heavy? I think she's calling her heavy, everybody. But it seemed that Phantasm's herd of sheep had agreed to restrain themselves, all abiding by the unspoken rule of do not touch Fess. And in doing so, they could feel Fess's presence right in front of them. They could savor the sweet fragrance the fragrance of Fess's sweat. They could touch the same air as Fess. And that was the greatest joy her followers could ever know. Until this point, I thought that this was just any other performance. But I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw what Fess did next. She casually began to unfasten the belt around her waist. And then, she threw it into the crowd. All of her followers instantly reached for it, competing with one another to lay their claim over it. Then, with a sidelong glance at them, Fess unzipped her miniskirt. I'm on a roll today with my predictions. I could probably compete with Fess here in that department. Sorry, Yase. Excuse me. Her skirt gently fell to her feet. Her black, sensual underwear was exposed. She seemed to have not a care in the world about her acolytes seeing her in such revealing clothing. Maybe she was high off the atmosphere of the venue. Or maybe this was part of the performance. Or maybe she was just an exhibitionist. I had no idea, but her utter eroticism kept my eyes glued to her all the same. Fess looked at me once more, her lips forming a bewitching smile.
Oi, こっち来るぞ.
Fess's eyes were fixed on me, never once looking elsewhere. She slowly started approaching, as if she found her target. Then, when she finally arrived before my very eyes, as if I was her lover, she blew her sweet breath toward me and wrapped her arms around me. Her skin was slightly damp with sweat. The scent and warmth were so alluring, they made me dizzy. Her breast pressed up against me, quickly and repeatedly rubbing up and down my body. I guess it's true what they say about singing being exhausting, because I could feel her ragged breath directly on my skin. Her arms were wrapped around my back, holding me close. Her nails were digging into the nape of my neck, and her thighs were twined around my leg. Shivers ran through my entire body like jolts of electricity. I wasn't able to push her aside, nor could I return her embrace. The only thing I could do was stand still, staring at her, my eyes wide in confusion. Her followers cheered again, but this time, the noises they made sounded more like screams. The music played by Phantasm intensified. Chants of Fess echoed throughout the venue. Then, shouts of "Do it! Do it!" began to follow. Do it? Do what exactly? In a situation like this, what could they be talking about? I had no idea. Fess, meanwhile, just kept hugging me in silence. Seeking help, I looked for Misumi-kun's silhouette in the crowd. But when I found him, to my surprise, he was sharing an intense kiss of a girl in the crowd I'd never seen before. No, it wasn't just Misumi-kun. The rest of the acolytes, boys and girls alike, were throwing their clothes off, getting naked as the day they were born. Is this about to turn into a damn orgy or something? Some embraced one another, others placed their lips together, and some were beginning to do the deed. Hell screams of pandemonium complemented the gluttony for cardinal pleasure. Moans, groans, and the obscene sounds of flesh rubbing against flesh pervaded throughout the venue where Phantasm had just performed. This is a black mass. I finally realized. This was an obscene feast hosted by the witch known as Fess. And more importantly, the sacrifice brought in for the witch today was me. I had been chosen as the partner for Fess. How exactly is this a positive delusion exactly? Was this really what a Phantasm concert was like? I was also beginning to lose myself in the atmosphere. I could feel a hazy mist engulfing my mind. Oops. I felt excitement toward what was to come, but also dread. I felt superior, having been chosen by Fess, but also completely entranced by ecstasy. I thought I was going insane. Like time, the world, had stopped completely. Fess's laughter reached my ears once more. Even in this flood of sound, I could hear her voice clear as day. What a sexy voice. Just hearing the sound of it put me on the verge of fainting. But Fess was seducing me into diving further and further into this melting pot of pleasure. Her teeth lightly sank into my earlobe. She let out a sigh right into my ear. And then, she whispered.
その目、誰の目？
フェスエロいよ、フェス。
I ask again, how exactly was that a positive delusion? It seemed to me between the red option and the green option for this particular choice, I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Sitting in front of my PC, I had gotten lost in another delusion of mine. The concert I'd gone to earlier today was great inspiration. After all, as far as 3D girls went, Fess was pretty nice. That said, the number of people in the crowd had been way too high. Hell would have to freeze over for me to go there again. I wanted to GTFO basically the entire time. GTFO. Net slang, short for get the fuck out. An expletive used to tell someone to go away, or a phrase talking about leaving in general. It can also be used to express disbelief. Hey, we got something else here. Diagnostic results. You are completely and utterly delusional. Why, thanks for noticing. I'm glad someone finally gets it. It's very possible that you can no longer live without your delusions. You constantly fall in love with two-dimensional characters, and you wish you could walk straight into your computer screen. Real life will never be fulfilling to you. It's too late. But there's no need to feel guilty about it. It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. Surrender yourself fully to your delusions, to your imagination. As long as you're happy, nothing else matters. I just ask that you stay cognizant of your own health. Always make sure to eat, take care of yourself when you're sick, and take care of yourself in general. As long as you do that, you may continue your blissful, luscious, delusional life, where you may never have to worry about the pain of reality again. Your delusions shall never betray you. A word from Takumi. Did you know, if you stay a virgin till you turn 30, you become a wizard and get magic powers. That's why 3D sucks shit. It's totally worthless. A girlfriend that lives inside your head is the best kind of girlfriend after all. Everyone knows that. That was not a word from Takumi. That was a word from Grimm, aka Hazuki. Don't be a plagiarist, Takumi. Well, that was a fun read. In the end, the size of the crowd made me too sick, so I'd rushed to leave the venue. Today's illusion had been awesome. And who knows, maybe Phantasm and Fess actually did that kind of stuff. They just decided to skip today. Well, anyway, I guess I'll log on to ESO or something. Ah, another one already.
ねえナイトハルト、僕はいつでもお前を見てるんだぞ。
Guide says positive.
お前はそれに気づいてるの？
And then... Nineheart says, let's go to the 2D world. I hadn't typed anything, and yet Nineheart still spoke. Thinking it was just an optical illusion, I rubbed my eyes. But the message was still there, displayed in the chat. Go to the 2D world. What was that supposed to mean? Even you can be a hero.
僕に言ってるの？
We'll fight together. You're not into 3D, right? You couldn't care less about it?
いや、そうだけど。
Nineheart was speaking to me, the player controlling him. What the fuck? Did he have a will of his own after all? Place your hand on the monitor. When you do, you'll be able to enter Baselard. As Nishijo Takumi, the password is, whose eyes are those eyes?
だが断る。二次元世界に行くならせっかくだから僕はエロゲの世界を選ぶぜ。バゼラードはお前に任せるよ、ナイトハルト。
After replying, I used force shutdown to turn off my computer. Oh yeah, cell phone shopping day. And there is the burger face. Okay, we're in chapter 3 now. I think I'll get through chapter 3 and then I'll bring this to a stop for the time being. But let's see what we need to do here first. Looks like I got a little bit of extra work to do before I get to where I need to get. She actually swung the sword. I think I selected a negative one for this thing, so let's do positive. Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. If I hadn't dodged it, it would have hit my head for sure. I doubt it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion and permanently dented my skull. I hated pain.
何をするだ!
I was so shaken that my speech got all messed up. Oh wait, I selected the green one positively before. Shit. Oh well. You know what? You know, in case I make a mistake like that again, why don't I just save? So that way I can backtrack if I need to. I'll just have to make a mental note to check that particular delusion spot in the grid another time. Fess didn't even so much as look at him. I think I selected green this one, for sure. So, let's do red. She simply continued to walk down the hallway at the same pace, as if not a sound had reached her ears.
なあ聞いてる
Suddenly, Fess stopped in her tracks. Her slightly lower gaze slowly rose up, and then she looked at me. Huh? Me? Come to think of it, the same thing happened at the concert. It felt like Fess was staring directly at me. No, wait, I think I selected green. I selected red the first time, too. Let me go green. Just in general, I've been stared at by a whole bunch of freaky 3D girls over the past couple weeks. God, what the hell was going on? Was I becoming popular now? Well?
私、好きな人がいるのよ。
No, god damn it, I should have gotten my... I shouldn't have second guessed myself. Shit.
その
Alright, let's do this again.
そこの君。
はい。
When she called to me, I snapped to attention and replied. The otherworldly aura radiating off her entire body had me viewing her as someone older than myself. But then again, I knew for a fact that she and I were in the same year of school. Fess signaled toward Misumi-kun, who had been following her around, with a jerk of the chin.
付き合わない方がいいわよ。こんな人とは。
おいおいこんな人呼ばわりはひどくねっていうかこんな人ってどんな人だよ
鬱陶しい人。
はあ
Oh boy. The look on Misumi-kun's face turned very clearly sour. But Fess left the sharp glint in his eye unanswered, letting it slip past her without any interest. What a nasty atmosphere. I didn't want to be involved in this. Too late. It was a total embarrassment when it came to fighting. I was a total embarrassment when it came to fighting, be it physically or verbally. Besides, if I caused any problems at school, I'd have an impact on my evaluations. To avoid getting caught up in it, I should probably get out of here right away.
何もしかして岸本さんさ俺のことバカにしてる
You don't need any help with that, my friend. You're perfectly capable of doing that yourself.
別に。でも、迷惑よ。
あ、そうなんだそういうこと言うんだ岸本さんってちょっとさ人のいないところで二人でゆっくり話そうぜ
Misumi-kun placed a hand on Fess's shoulder, his smile trembling with rage. Her eyebrows twitched in response.
触らないで。
そう言うなっていいからちょっと付き合ってよ
触らないでって言ってるの。
うっせえなついてこいって言ってんだよ
バカな人。
It happened in an instant. Even though I'd seen the whole thing, I still couldn't comprehend exactly what had happened. This is just like what happened. This is just like what happened with. Why am I forgetting your name now of all times? With Kosapi. Oh, whoops. Before I could even blink, that awesome mic stand, or maybe it was a sword, was now being held tightly in Fess's hand. I had no idea where she retrieved it from, but she now brandished it with incredible ease. And then... Misumi-kun's left hand was cleanly severed from his wrist. An explosion of blood erupted from the wound, and the severed hand fell to the floor. The hallway was turning crimson. I hadn't seen anything. I hadn't seen anything at all. I hadn't seen her draw her sword. I hadn't seen the trail of light it carved when it was swung. I hadn't seen Misumi-kun's arm get lopped off. It all happened in the blink of an eye. And by the time I realized what happened, it was already over. Misumi-kun collapsed on the spot, frantically picked up his hand, and tried desperately to reattach it to his arm. His screams echoed throughout the hallway. All the students around us screamed and ran off in a panic. As for Fess, she was still holding her sword, calmly admiring the chaos. Then, for the second time, she looked at me. Her red tongue slowly cleaned her lips as a fierce blush dyed her cheeks, her smile stretching the color across her face.
気持ちいい。
Wow, that was fun. No such carnage had unfolded. While I was over here drowning in my moronic delusions, Fess was murmuring something in a low voice, only to up and disappear soon after.
自信なくすぜ。くそ。
That you have, my friend. That you have. Misumi-kun was sulking, having been completely and utterly disregarded. Considering how she was able to deter an alpha male of his caliber like he was no lower than a spur on a boot of hers, to deter him like he was nothing more than a typical connoisseur, maybe the other team was what Fess preferred. A true Yuri connoisseur.
それはすごくいいスールです。
Especially if she was a lolly type character like Nanami. That's the stuff.
あんな不愛想な女、もう二度と相手にしてやるもんかよ。あー、うぜえ。だいたい何が剣を見つけろだ。わけわかんねえ。
剣。
ああ、岸本がそう言ってただろ。剣を見つけろ。そうすれば救われるって。
Salvation.
なあ、タク。ファンタズムの歌にそんな歌詞でもあるのか?
Well, it's nice to have known in retrospect that even if I had selected a different option, I would have been told this crucial information anyway. A sword. Could it be that thing from my delusion earlier? That mic stand that I hadn't been able to figure out if it was a sword or not? Come to think of it, there'd been another person a couple days ago that interrogated me about a sword. Alright. Guide says I should look at this one as a positive delusion. Damn it, this was not the time. When had I first started feeling the gaze? I'd long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. The "it'll take more than that to make me turn around" game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様出てこい。僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか。甘いな。
バレちゃった。
当たり前だ。僕の後ろに立つなと何度言えば。
Huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Goosebumps stood up all over my body. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? Not yet. Was that even possible? Should I turn around and see who it was? But what if she attacked me the moment I did? It was a fairly cute sounding voice, but what if, in reality, a monster far removed from anything human was standing there? No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around now, I wouldn't even notice if they killed me. Maybe I should say something else to see if they'd respond. It was possible that the voice I heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something, so that'd help confirm it. And I mean, I talk to my Saratan figure all the time in my head. It had to be the same thing. I tried to be bold and ask, "Who are you?" But I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could have very easily spelled the end for me. It could have caused her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design, and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass. I swear, if the owner of the gaze wasn't here, and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing, I was gonna kill myself. Don't kill Shogun!
タク固まってる？
Oh god, it really wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. There was someone right behind me. Startled, I reflexively turned around. Hey, Remy. The demon girl. The girl standing on the sofa was undeniably the same one I had seen at the crucifixion crime scene. And now, for some reason I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there, looking at me, smiling. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. She'd finally come to kill me. It had to be because of the detectives I talked to. She'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. After that, she infiltrated my base without making a sound, took up a position in which she could kill me at any moment, and now she was reveling in my fear as I cried and screamed in terror. It couldn't be anything else. Don't kill me, I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound.
コケコッコ？
Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me! In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I went to hide underneath my desk. Problem was, I was so shaking that I ended up bashing my head into the edge of it. Ha! Rendering me unable to move as I writhed in pain.
何やってるのタク？今すっごい音したよ。コツンって。
Even now, the demon girl was keeping her amused smile. But it had to be a trap. One built to lull me into a false sense of security. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere, and I'd die right then and there.
頼むよ。殺さないで。
I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives have completely fucked me over! Well, one of them is doing that.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
警察？
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he'd guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he'd have to send at least one officer over to my place. Upon thinking that, I suddenly realized I'd given the old man my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address.
石？
Suddenly, the demon girl assumed a pose resembling a salute. And what was just as, if not more strange, was what she said. It was almost like a sound effect. Was it an demonic curse?
独り言はやめるべし。殺さないでとか警察がどうとか私には何のことかさっぱりだよ。
Now that's a lie. What? Was she trying to play dumb? Yes! Was this her roundabout way of threatening me? And in actuality, she was saying, forget the truth. Act as if nothing ever happened. What the hell was she thinking? Hadn't she come here to kill me?
ほら、立てる？立とう。
The demon girl got up from the couch and reached her hand out to me. Her expression was gentle, and now that I was seeing her up close, she was actually pretty cute. Cutest demon you'll ever see. Damn it. I was letting her get to me. Stop acting like a goddamn idiot. Was I seriously calling a demon pretty cute? She was a murderer. She used Yua and Shogun to trap me. And now she'd come to finish me off herself. Don't trust her. I'd already learned my lesson back with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I refused to take her hand. Don't be deceived by this demon girl's smile. She was a demon trying to tempt me. If I gave in to that temptation, I'd die. Trust no one. Don't believe in anything. Don't believe anything anyone says.
だって見たんだ。お前が人を殺してるとこ。
あのさ、タク。それかなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてる？まさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてね。はは。
What was she gonna do with me?
ニュージェネの。
Just like the guy in the fourth case. Was she gonna...
殺すんでしょ。それとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって。
岩？将軍？誰それ？
Maybe the three of them had decided to work together. That way, I wouldn't be able to fight back when they beat me to death. Well, more like two of them working together. You're close, Takumi.
やだ。助けて。
じゃあね、私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげる。
So that was her true goal.
そんなビビらないでよ。いちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね。
お願いだ。もう二度と誰にも喋らないから。だから見逃して。
もしもーし。 タク、ちょっと落ち着こう。
This bitch, acting like we were close or something. Calling me Taku and shit. Wait, actually, how did she know my name? She'd already known it back when we first met at the crucifixion crime scene. How? How'd she know it? And also, how'd she know where my base was?
当然でしょ。あなたの名前を知ってるのは。
Had she just read my mind? I knew she was clairvoyant. She knew my name, my address. All because she used her powers on me.
タクって結構独り言多いよね。前から思ってたことだけど。
Always. How long was she talking? Wait, had I been talking to myself out loud just now? I hadn't been aware of it at all. Was that really true? Had I really been talking to myself out loud? Or was it possible that she was just lying to me, and in actuality, she read my mind?
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ。私、物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど。友達の名前くらい覚えるよ。
Ends?
それともタク、私のことバカにしてる？そりゃ私、テストの点数はそんなに良くないけど。面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな。
Was someone here crazy? But who was it? Me? Her?
もしかして、転校生？
そういえば近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよ。スカチン先生が言ってた。
There were two different conversations going on here. My terror from earlier, together with the anxiety of having no idea when I'd get killed, was starting to fade. But rushing in to replace it was a completely new kind of dread, slithering in to slowly erode my mind.
もしもし？その顔はまさかまだ信じてくれてない？
誰だ？
Who was she? A murderer. A demon girl. That was who.
タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。ひどー。
Did she say classmate? So we weren't just friends, but classmates too?
でもまあしょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。だからって私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。私の名前本当に忘れちゃった？そんなことないよね。知ってるでしょ？あなたは知ってるはず。
Rimi.
み。
I wonder if she's projecting her name into his mind using her gigglomaniac powers. And is just using it in tandem with her gaslighting tactics here.
そう、正解！賞金50円プレゼント！私、崎畑リミです。なんだ、やっぱり覚えててくれたんだね。よかったよかった。
How? Was it true? Was the demon girl's name really Rimi? Why had that name suddenly popped in my head just now? Why did I know this girl's name? Maybe she really was my classmate and friend and I'd just forgotten. No. There was no way. I never heard of the name Sakihata Rimi. It had to be a fake name. It had to be that when I said Remy, she just decided that'd be her name right then and there. It was like one of those spam emails from a Nigerian prince that used your personal info. Besides, other than Yua, I never met a 3D girl who talked to me like we were this close in my life. And Yua was the demon girl's underling. Wait, that was it. What the girl calling herself Sakihata was doing right now was exactly the same as what you had done. This temptress knew I wasn't used to interacting with 3D girls, so she was attempting to lead me into a trap by behaving all friendly and trying to seduce me. It's the exact same strategy. Again, you're close, but not quite there. And the thing is, while I barely remembered my classmates' face at all, and I didn't plan to either, I could say with absolute certainty that I'd never seen this girl's face in the same classroom as me before. Probably. Damn it. I couldn't completely rule it out. After all, whenever I was at school, I was usually glued to my desk until the final bell, pretending to sleep, having delusions, staring at my desk, or feigning reading my books. I didn't do anything else. I had next to no memory of my classmates' names and faces, so I didn't even try to remember any. Which was it? Was she telling the truth? Or was it all a lie? No. It didn't matter whether or not we were classmates. Because the thing I knew for sure, the one hard, indisputable fact, was that she had committed murder.
もしかして本気で思い出せないの？さっき頭打ったせいで記憶喪失になっちゃった？
The demon girl reached for my head. I retreated back under the desk to try and avoid her.
たく変だよ。じゃあ大地に聞いてみて。そしたらタクも思い出せるかも。
Daichin? What the hell was that? Was that a person? Or some sort of secret code? Or demonic incantation?
大地だよ、大地。三角大輔。
She knew Misumi-kun's name? And not only that, but she was calling him Daichin? She wouldn't call him that unless they were really close.
ちょっと待ってね。
The demon girl reached for a bag on the sofa, a bag that wasn't mine, and took out a cell phone.
大臣はと。よし、オッケー。はい。
After a bit of fiddling with the phone, she held it out to me. When I made no motion to take it, the demon girl forced a smile and quickly grabbed my hand.
ほら、固まってないで。
She forced me to hold the cell phone. The demon girl's hand was soft, and just a little bit cold. I expected it to be a lot colder, almost like ice, but it wasn't nearly that bad. I guess even murderers had blood flowing through their veins. And because her hand was unexpectedly feminine, my heart started to thump. No, don't fall for it. She's a demon. I'll never let her seduce me. I'm not into 3D. Lend me your power, Saratan!
たく、携帯使ったことないの？電話機は耳に当てるんだよ。
Tilting her head, the demon girl peered at my face from point-blank range. With her hand still grabbing mine, she brought the phone up to my ear. But before she did, I quickly looked at the screen. The registered name Daichin was displayed, and it looked like it was already calling them. With no escape, I pressed the receiver up against my ear. I heard the sound of the phone ringing. Eventually, that sound stopped, and in its place, Were they saying that to me? Or to the demon girl? Why had they said that? I think Shogun probably had something to do with Daisuke saying that just now, if I had to guess. The person on the other end remained silent. They didn't say who they were. It sounded like they were downtown or something, as I could hear a bunch of noise coming through the receiver. I was so confused. My voice wouldn't come out. I had no idea what to say. Misumi-kun, or at least that's who I thought it was, quickly reverted to his normal tone. Rimi. Sakihara Rimi. Misumi-kun knew her? Well, it wasn't like it was anything unusual. Misumi-kun was a natural-born playboy, after all. It wouldn't be surprising if he'd gone out with a demon girl in the past, or even if they were in a super intimate relationship now. That didn't matter to me, though. What I needed to know was whether the demon girl was in my class or not. The demon girl once again peered at my face. Shit, she was way too close. I turned my back to her and spoke into the receiver.
僕西条
なんだタクかリミと一緒にいるのか
Why had he responded so nonchalantly? Him acting so natural made it sound like me being with the demon girl was an everyday occurrence or something.
またリミに振り回されてるのか大変だなお前もでもよ一つだけ言っていいかお前そろそろ自分の携帯変えよ
Was the person on the other end really Misumi-kun? For example, there was the possibility that the demon girl had made a phone call to someone who only sounded like Misumi-kun. I could swear I've read a lot of this dialogue already, so why is it counted as new? Maybe this person who sounded like Misumi-kun was just another underling of hers, and he was only pretending to be Misumi-kun in order to trick me. I was starting to doubt anything and everything. I didn't know what was true and what was a lie. Hold on. What the hell kind of trap was the demon girl trying to make me fall into anyway? Why bother with a trap this elaborate? In a situation like this, wouldn't it be easier and far quicker for her to just go ahead and kill me already? Or was there some reason behind it? Some kind of prerequisite saying she had to trick me, even if it meant taking it this slow? No. Maybe it was some hidden camera type thing, spearheaded by Misumi-kun. The girl wasn't actually my classmate, but Misumi-kun's girlfriend, and he'd sent her here in order to screw with me. As fucking if. If that were the case, how the hell would that explain everything that happened at the crew fishing crime scene?
で、タク、なんか用か俺としては野郎からの電話なんてあんま嬉しくねえんだけどな
His tone of voice sounded exactly like Misumi-kun's. The more I heard, the more convinced I was that the person on the other end had to be him.
女の口説き方でも教えてもらいたいのかなわけねえか
Should I start talking? I sensed a gaze on my back. The girl was staring at me. The chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away. What kind of expression was the demon girl making? I wanted to turn around and see for myself, but I was too scared.
で、なんなんだ今俺も女と一緒なんだよなるべく手短に頼むわ
その
なんだよ早く言えって
うちのクラス
ああうちのクラスがどうした
いる
何か
女子 先畑って名前の。
Despite steadily becoming more and more incoherent, I somehow managed to explain myself. Suddenly, Misumi-kun stopped responding. Silence. However, I could still hear the noise of the city around him, so the call hadn't disconnected or anything. Why wasn't he talking? The next thing I heard was an extremely exaggerated sigh. Where'd that come from? Not only was it completely out of left field, but he brought up that bullshit condition that had been coined despite having no scientific backing or whatsoever.
本当にクラスメイト。
お前な、たまにしか学校来ねえから忘れちまったか？俺はともかく、お前は1年の時から同じクラスだろ。この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
I couldn't comprehend what the person that sounded like Misumi-kun was saying. He said that the demon girl and I had been in the same class since first year, and that the three of us had seen a movie together pretty recently. But when exactly?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって。最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだったしな。俺と同じで、リミも物好きだからよ。ニートのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミぐらいだぜ。あ、それは言い過ぎか。
The words I heard on the other end of the call. Not a single one of them felt real to me. I had absolutely no memory of any of it. I couldn't acknowledge that any of that had happened in the past. I just couldn't. It was all some story that the person who sounded like Misumi-kun had made up. It couldn't be my past. The past could only be established as truth if a person remembered it. So if I didn't remember it, it wasn't true. Well, unfortunately, false memories have been established to be a thing in this universe.
君は誰だ？
おいおい、マジでおかしくなったか？俺のことまで忘れたわけか？ゲームやりすぎ。
Unable to take it anymore, I hung up the phone. My breathing had grown extremely heavy without me noticing. The sweat that had been beating on my forehead showed no signs of stopping. In fact, it was increasing. Long trails of sweat trickled down my entire body, starting from my face and ending at my feet.
たく、汗びっしょりだよ。
The demon girl, looking worried about me, calmly offered me a handkerchief. A cute, patternless, vermilion handkerchief. There was a faint floral scent to it. Instead of taking it, I attempted to somehow maintain my composure and organize my thoughts about everything that was happening. But in the end, it didn't go too well. I was doubting anything and everything, causing all my thoughts to rapidly churn together into a chaotic whirlpool. Sighing in minor disappointment, the demon girl put away her handkerchief, and then, with a triumphant look on her face, she asked me a question.
で、大地はなんて？
She was acting that like she already knew the answer. I couldn't afford to answer her. What was she? An ordinary classmate of mine? Or a monster? I had no idea. Maybe I was the crazy one. Taking the chat with Shogun into consideration, I couldn't rule out the possibility that someone other than myself was controlling my body. Or maybe all my memories of the demon girl, the girl named Sakihara Rimi, had somehow gotten knocked right out of me due to some freak accident or something. At this point, I didn't know anything about myself for sure. Did I have amnesia? Did I sleepwalk? Or it could be something else entirely. Something else entirely.
大丈夫？体辛いならソファーで横になる？
The demon girl spoke to me kindly. Don't let your guard down. Anyone who acts nice to an otaku freak like me must have some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head, putting my strong will to resist against the demon girl on full display. Then, using that same strength, I raised my head. Sweat got in my eyes, blurring my vision. The demon girl's face was a lot closer than I expected it to be. What color eyes were those?
なんで
何何？
ここにいる？
なんでってタクに会いに来たんだよ。もしかして勝手に部屋に入ったこと怒ってる？でもそれはタクがちっとも返事してくれないから悪いんだよ。結構長い時間ノックしてたんだから。
I thrusted the cell phone she'd given me back at her. As I watched the demon girl timidly take it back, I asked her once again.
なんで？
今度は何？
ここにいる。
What was her reason for coming here? If she'd come to kill me, she would have done a long time ago. So why wasn't she doing anything? Here we go, finally. Finally! Took a lot longer to get through than I thought it would. Okay, you know what? Before I actually... Okay, you stop. I think I'm going to just go ahead and just stop things right here. I'm pretty sure I'll remember where this is without any issue. So, we've made some good progress so far in this episode, I believe. Definitely, some of the new delusions I've seen are definitely very interesting, especially considering the information I know in hindsight from the first story route, like the one with Dr. Takashina in particular. To think that if I had chosen that one instead, I could have gotten a hint about I could have gotten a big hint about Shogun's life in the hospital real early, but without even realizing it. It's pretty neat, finding little details like that. Other than that, I don't really have too much to really say with what I've seen so far, other than it's just, again, just interesting to see different variations of delusions that I've chosen before in the first route. That being said, I hope everybody enjoyed this latest episode of Chaos Head Noah. And if you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you all next time. Take care.